Ooh, welcome back, everybody. We have one more slot of matches in group play before we figure out who our final teams are going to be in the playoff bracket. And the matchup coming up is a very crucial one. My whole shift. With me, I've got Proper. Birthday boy. Look good for 31, by the way. Shut up. Don't say anything in response. The next one, though, like we mentioned, it's going to be a real tight one, flat out. St. Edwards, Davenport. Both teams looking for their first win.
I mean, it literally is that 1 point, right? I mean, both of these two teams are looking for their first win. Look at this Group B. I honestly did not have the Hilltoppers losing the way that they did to the Dragons. Now Fisher and University of North America will be duking out for that first seed. Group A, the absolute gauntlet that it is still shaping its things up nicely. New Mexico State looking for their consolation W.
Yeah, that's the big one, right? I mean, New Mexico State has to play up against Oklahoma Christian, who did get tested by St. Clair in their last matchup, whereas St. Clair plays Northwood. But yeah, pretty much Group B is decided at this point. Top two seeds are going to be playing for seeding there in their final matchup. But this one is who gets on to the playoff bracket and who is unfortunately done. So Davenport, St. Edwards, tight matchup overall. I will say before we jump into this matchup, it is interesting that all of our top teams have looked really vulnerable in search and destroy so far this weekend. It may be an early call, but I think whichever team gets into the playoff bracket that is best at search has the best chance at winning this entire thing, including maybe these two teams. Who knows?
I feel like we're broken records. We said the same thing throughout the entirety of finals last season.
Year, yeah.
And it's the same exact thing here. Search and destroy, I cannot stress to you, it will win you matches. It'll win you tournaments as well. And how integral would it be between these two teams of the Hilltoppers and the Panthers?
Could be a big difference maker. Let's introduce our squad, starting off with the St. Edwards Hilltoppers.
Finally, he will fall. Eon's that player was, by the way, and Reality now in a 1 versus 3. Awkward situation here to be on 5 in a row. You'd think he tried to present the He goes straight for the diffuser. He somehow gets that kill as well, and he's got the hell out of George. How has he just done this? Not enough time to defuse. There is still time to be fair to Reality. He's surely just going to check it in time. The 1 versus 3.
Well, it's one of those matches coming right off of a very significant loss to the University of North America, looking for a way to make it into the playoff bracket. Not a lot of history between these two teams, obviously, being a different regions of the sort, but I think the biggest thing about this is the St. Edwards team we expected great things from. They've been tested throughout this entirety of the season, including a lot of those key wins. I hesitate to even call them key wins because they're all really tight versus teams that are largely not even here.
And you feel like that they're matchups that they should have been able to win pretty darn cleanly when you think about the roster that is the St. Edwards Hilltoppers from the beginning of the year into this very point in time. There's been a lot of question marks, a lot of stress around this Hilltoppers roster, going to map 5 versus CSUN versus Rutgers as well, even beating the Aggies, dropping a map there. We were all very interested to be able to see what the skill ceiling honestly looks like when it comes down to St. Edwards. Here are your Hilltoppers: Eons, Thresh, Vanity, and Reality. I passed them on the way back in, trying to bounce back after getting blown out of the water by University of North America. And hey, that's why you got a guy like Vanity on your team. The vibes are high. You gotta win this matchup here.
Yeah, need to find somebody to kind of come out and spark this team a little bit. Yeah. I mean, so far, you had a nice Game 2 win versus Fisher. Round 10, Search and Destroy. Against Search and Destroy has been the only vulnerability for our top team so far, but the respawn really hasn't been there yet today. And that's the biggest thing, is not only for this matchup are we looking to see possibly who's going to come out on top of the Search and Destroys, but this may actually be a series that's determined by the respawns, considering that both teams have looked pretty weak in it so far today.
Oh, absolutely. I think that when it mostly comes down to the Hilltoppers is something that me and Austin talked about in the previous cast for the Hilltoppers versus the Dragons, is that you can keep things close through like maybe 2 different hard points, but then the enemy team ends up picking up that second 6th gear almost, and then that's ended up happening with them versus Fisher. I think that it's one of those things that the Hilltoppers, they do have those tools, just got to be able to find the way to use them.
Well, that's the breakdown of the Hilltoppers. Let's take a moment to introduce the Panthers from Davenport.
Oh, that is a huge moment right there for Davenport. They have a chance to grab control of the game. It's him! Oh, he lines them up!
Progress is locked.
Good initial wave of gunfights coming through from Michigan here, looking pretty good. They know when to back away, but Sheldon, once again, piecing up on 4 in a row, make it number 5, a triple for Sheldon to clear out this point.
This Panthers team's a weird one. You know, we kind of came into this season with the division they were in, expecting them to possibly top it. And, well, we didn't get that, flat out. It was a real weird start for them. The losses to SIUE and St. Clair were not just 0-3 losses. It really wasn't even close at any point. I thought they were pretty exposed throughout a lot of those matchups. But they were able to really kind of show us a little bit of extra life when they were playing through the LCQ to get here in the first place. Need to see that show up here on LAN.
Absolutely. I mean, throughout the entirety of that that LAN qualifier, right? I mean, they had to go up against Farmingdale, and albeit Farmingdale, a very respectable roster, you almost felt like that was going to be a matchup. Should have been a matchup that it should have been closed out cleanly, and well, it was. But you look at a lot of these key losses throughout the entirety of the regular season, losing to the Cougars of SIUE the way they did, getting map 5'd by Marcel Esports, and then getting the revenge later on down the road is something that the Panthers, I honestly would not have them doing, especially with how they looked at the end of the year at Vanguard.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Hey, they're repeating at least an appearance here at the 2022 to 2023 playoff LAN with mostly the same roster.
Yep.
That's the other part about it. So that's why the expectations were so high at the beginning of the year. Their ranking in the top 25 was, I think, maybe cushioned by the fact that, oh, they lost, but like this is still a good roster. I think in everyone's mind they were still kind of comparing them to what we had seen in the Vanguard season, but I think it was a bit of a battle, more so than we expected for them to even be here in the first place. And now it's down to fighting for your life while you're here. Both these two teams had finished top 6 last time they were here at LAN, trying to repeat that at least. But for one of these two squads, it will be a top 8 and not a chance to see the playoff bracket. You win and you're in, you lose and you're done. Vibes have been high all day, but man, I'm expecting the intensity to pick up between these two squads
I can feel the tension all the way over here. We're at least a good, like, 25, almost 30 feet away from where this main stage is, and I can honestly just feel the tension. Yeah, that's some good smiles coming through from at least Mo. Vanity trying to keep everybody in check as well. But you just got to have it, and it starts off with the map. Pick bans in veto process, and oddly enough, for the Hilltoppers, they did their homework. They got rid of both LSCLOs for both Search and Destroy and Control, forced Davenport's hand to then pick out what is another comfortable map set for them as well. They got their Fortress Hardpoint, Allen. With the Hotel Search and Destroy and Control, that's what's going to be interesting. That's good for both these two teams.
Yeah, this is interesting that we're still seeing more Fortress and more Hydro. Both these two teams have been kind of slaughtered on Hydro, for being honest. It's been in every single map pool so far for SEU. Davenport has only played it once, and it was against Fisher. They only lost by about 100 points. The Fortress has also been in the mix for both these two teams, at least at some point in time. Most recently for Davenport, they just got blown out by Fisher on this map, 250 to 89. So weird to see it come back through, considering the fashion of which it's been played until this point. But here we go. Winning, you're in. Losing, you're done. Davenport, St. Edwards, Fortress Hardpoint. Let's get it.
Do or go home. Starting off on the favorite side of the map, Panthers will be able to get at least control munitions first. And well, Thrax, you want to talk about it? Got to watch out for when it comes down to Panthers. It always feels like that if this guy starts off hot, well, the Panthers are soon to follow. Wonderful 3-0 start for Thrax.
And Davenport even locking down the rotation for St. Edwards, trying to get around the middle of the map and maybe even get to the left side of the minimap. Eon's an important double, neutralizes the hard point. Sheldon tries to step in. Should be tested here in a moment, and he will be. Yeah, well played here by St. Edwards. They give up 23 seconds, but look at the spawn to the bottom left. Davenport already spawning out.
There wasn't anybody in a position to at least watch the middle of the map. Luckily enough, Vanity does pick it up here inside of munitions. He knows that he's going to have a player. Exib is just playing this head glitch on the backside of stage, but he's the only Panthers player that's alive, so Vanity's going to push it out. Wonderful transition to come through from St. Edwards. Like you said, they gave up 23 points, but now they have the rotation in the setup at new.
Yeah, Eon's already on 7 in a row in his second life, so he's already got a cruise missile earned up. This is one of the players that we kind of saw at the beginning of the year. We're like, oh, he's got a high ceiling, and he may be starting to reach it here early. 8-1, and Davenport are coming in a bit staggered. Thrax has gotten through. Gecko trying to follow, but is anyone going to clear out Eons? I mean, he just walks up behind for free. Now it's going to give him a task, and well, at least puts him down, but nonetheless, Hilltoppers will stay inside the hard point.
I mean, and it's just Eons existing inside of bottom single for as long as he did that has just garnered St. Edwards an undeniable amount of 30 seconds. I mean, there's been some trades. The Panthers are going to give themselves one good shake at it. And you're at least okay to do this, to send these three players on over. But they kind of come knocking at the door. They ding-dong ditch the P2 area. They just want to set themselves over by P3.
You got 3 players at the front with 20 seconds left. Just give somebody a go. And now they're backing over to Fountain. These kills are already in and the spawns are out. So talk about a little double whammy situation here for Davenport. Sheldon may have just saved the day. And he gets not just 2, but a 3rd. So, okay, clearance is now established, but goodness. Davenport was really flirting with danger right there.
That's putting it lightly. I mean, considering that the St. Edwards were able to find themselves some multiple kills, get inside of maps, force out to spawn out, but Gecko will absolutely feast on top of that. Through the middle of the map, he's setting up Sheldon for another spree on the opposite side here for 4. This has been an undeniable 30 seconds here for Panthers at 3.
Breaker on the back, starting to grow some legs here for the Hilltoppers. Spawn's not fully in right now for Davenport. Last player left, Sheldon deals with him, no worries. That was Vanity, last one trying to contest through the back. St. Edwards are going to try to give this maybe one last finesse, and they may have missed that Zib is all the way through already.
Yeah.
So good rotation here for Davenport. Sheldon, all the meantime, while soaking up the hard point, has gotten himself onto 5, so a chance to try to counter out Eon's hot start. If he can find his 6 and get a cruise missile.
I mean, you got to be counting numbers. The positioning on the minimap for St. Edwards, being inside of maps when P3 is still active, you're actively going to force Panthers to spawn all the way out. Exib says, hey, by the way, I'm inside top rails. Vanity's realistically the only player that could do something about it. And well, he's inside the hard point, he's inside the cage. Exib will not try to find that challenge, but damn, is he buying enough time for reinforcements to come through.
The track down, one Gecko from the front, allowing Davenport a chance to break on through. Hardpoint goes neutral, Exib still alive. Goodness gracious, no one for St. Edwards could track him down, so he gets the 3 in a row. Break secured now for the Panthers. And St. Edwards are actually spawning out. Just the blink of an eye, how things have gone from good to bad to worse than bad all of a sudden for the Hilltoppers. Under a threat of possibly being spawn trapped here in touch, Eon's able to get back over towards Gallo's side. That will allow maybe an opportunity to exit in towards this scrap, but it will now just come down to Vanity on 2 HP. Doesn't even wait for the regen, still pushes through. Finds himself on to at least neutralize at worst as Sheldon is forced to still play for the kill.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, even that little bit of contest time will keep this a whole lot more respectable than what could have potentially been a spiral out of control favoring that of the Panthers. Let's not forget that Eon's, by the way, on his second life. He went on that massive 7 spree, and he finds himself up to 11-11. So turning of the page, potentially, the setup here for 5, a pretty good one for the Hilltoppers.
Christmas getting called in here.
Yeah.
Thresh just watching the cross. Sheldon denies. Gecko try to work his way back through as well. Shots down low, pretty decent. Eons, oh, well done, tracking the second. Try to jump into the hard point, and with that, trades look good for the Hilltoppers to stay inside the hard point. Chance for Davenport to try to hit this from multiple points of ingress. They're going to call it the cruise missile of their own. There's only 30 seconds remaining here. Hill's still turning up okay for St. Edwards. That will be hit off the side of the fortress, but it does not get the players out of the hard point. Reality's still very healthy as well. Shuts down Sheldon, and help from Vanity's in. St. Edwards a chance to retake the lead.
Yeah, I would say the timing of both the cruise missile dropping also bought enough time for the trophy players to at least get back in a position to keep that hard point in their favor, and you needed that, P5. You could not afford to get broken up again if you are the Hilltoppers, and it came at a steep cost for the Panthers. It took them 2 cruise missiles, and they didn't even break inside the hard point. Let's not forget, I believe that Eon still has his in his back pocket. So going in towards the second set, just about a dead even game, jostling for position once again, 3 munitions in the middle of the map.
Good team shots coming through. St. Edwards finding control around the first hard point. Gecko, Thrax try to challenge. Eon shuts down one of the 2. Next up would be Reality sitting inside the hard point. Little timing play right here. Crossed up just a touch, and with that, the Panthers will go 3 for 1. Break through the hard point. Vanity able to keep it neutral, almost winning another key gunfight, but Thrax stays alive. It has a chance now to kind of pin St. Edwards over towards the right side of the map.
I'm getting shades of some old Fortress Control, Modern Warfare 2's past, but nobody was in a position top single. St. Edwards were able to find a little bit of an avenue out from Blacksmith, and well, albeit you may try 3 for 1 trade, will not garner you much map positioning at all. This has been a fantastic P1 for Panthers at the end of the day. Just about a dead even game. Some kills still coming through. St. Edwards still flooding through the bench.
Yeah, really good help from the ARs here as well. Sheldon gets 3 huge on the cross. Exib trying to finesse for the last 5 seconds, but it's Thresh who gets to the killing spree with that elimination. 1 away from a cruise missile for him. Davenport will hold on to the spawns as we open up the second hill. And for St. Edwards, this is a breach on all fronts. Everyone trying to hit individually from different angles, and it's not going all that well. Vanity trying to work with Reality, but no, that is a 4 for 1 exchange. Davenport, the victors, and now a chance for them to grow their lead.
And Sheldon on another 5 spree as well, 21-12. You talk about great assistance coming either from the AR as well. Sheldon's still fighting a lot of final blows as well. And again, this is shades of everything that I've gotten from St. Edwards in the past few hardpoints that I've watched over top of their shoulders. Eon's invested the cruise missile for what? It's 20 seconds remaining. Now you've got player number 4, Sheldon, spawning over by P3. Eons needs to chase this kill, loses the gunfight, and Vanity's able to contest for 20 seconds. And albeit it might be good at the grander scheme of things, you better hope that this push comes through mass successfully.
Yeah, fortunate that Gecko actually spawns up into place. This was going to be a 3v3, but now a 3v4, and that number may be difficult to deal with, and yeah, it's exactly the case. So Gecko's little spawn up works out for them. Hardpoint still open, though, over towards Gallows, so Davenport were not fully spawned in behind the fountain. Every kill a big kill here for both sides as Vanity nearly doubles up. Transition over towards the bottom side of maps. Thresh gets a beat down, and now a chance to just overwhelm Sheldon. Inside the hard point, he gets the first traded out. SCU, a chance to lock up this side of the map, but they don't get here with enough numbers, and now all of a sudden Davenport has a chance to break up their own.
I look at the recognition coming through from Gecko. Thresh, though, from inside of the fountain, just not having it. Sets up Eons for the last 2. Usual suspects come into play when it matters the most. The Hilltoppers are looking to take the lead once more.
Reality trying to do what he can through the middle of the map. Follow up here from Eons, but no, Gecko actually backs away. Sheldon keeps his life, so the exit will still be stalled, but Sid Edwards look good for the scrap. We're going to have ourselves right around a 200 to 175 game. Davenport are in their setup that they prefer for this munition side. Thresh in trouble. That Septec should surely get the job done. Sheldon will confirm the kill. Now it's just down to making sure nobody from St. Edwards sneaks through as the break attempt is already on.
Eons needs to stay alive, find a kill here as you may try. Gecko, oh my god, there was a world where he runs back in there and Eons gets sliced to bits. Luckily enough, that is not the universe that we live in. A team kill was forced out though. Spawns have flipped, favoring that of the Hilltoppers, spawning bottom secret.
Huge play here from Exib. He can shut down multiple points of Ingress on the side. Good help from Sheldon. Of course it is. 31 and 15. Sheldon on 5 again. Guy's a walking killing spree. 190 to 204. St. Edwards not finding a lot of ground to work with on their way in, but they do have the numbers here. 3v3 around the back, but the kills are just not around. Exib is really starting to heat up. Reality doing what he can to try to get into neutralize. Gecko's still trying to find the last 1v1, but no, Thresh takes the win. And it looks like the scrap time starts to go the way of St. Edwards, as Davenport are not going to contest this.
At Thresh, combating of the pressure that Sheldon is layering down at 31 and 17. Thresh now up to 28 and 18. Has a lot of good assistance from Eons down to 4 HP. Trying to play his life inside of maps. Let's not forget how integral St. Edwards P5 in the first set was. Be able to get themselves in a position, striking distance, 26 points out are all that they need.
Oh, but Eons kind of misses contact with one, and that's enough for him to get a bit bamboozled as he surprises a couple of Davenport members down low. Hardpoint, neutral, 201, 224. Davenport chance to jump in first and start to dig into this very small lead. Maybe even a chance to take a late lead of their own, as St. Edwards are spawning all over the map right now. Vanity spawns out. Thresh and Vanity will combine for a couple of individual kills. Exib the beatdown, he ran out of ammunition, and it doesn't matter. Now he's got a couple of different weapons to play with. St. Edwards have broken for now, but Davenport have the numbers. Bottom side map just comes down to finding the kills on the break attempt. Exib up top. No, Reality gets 2. Sheldon's going to take time to call the cruise missile. He may not have any members to actually contest this. Gecko gets 1, but he falls. Still a chance for St. Edwards to stay at the hill. Thresh trying to break it. One of the last players left to contest this in, but Thresh gets the kill. Sheldon next one up. Sheldon the next one to fall. Who can take Thresh out of the hard point? Gecko says maybe me. On rotation, though, you've got St. Edwards set up at new. Hardpoint opens. Davenport scrambling. They're not going to get here, but they neutralize for a second. Doesn't make a difference. St. Edwards take the opener.
Oh my goodness, was it ever so close, those last few contesting members to come through there for P5, and I mean, that is just the dance of the devil, right? If you're looking from the Panthers perspective, you go all in to make sure that you get maps positioning in your favor. You then flip the map on its head. You get one player of Vanity to spawn all the way over by the gallows from that previous positioning that Davenport had in their favor. And albeit, if they were able to stay alive from that positioning, it would have been great. A player inside P2, over by the anvil, inside of maps, and one inside of the stables. But when Vanity spawns out and the one player that tries to challenge was just not prepared for it, you're effectively going to be spawning into a forever spawn trap. And it just felt like it was so simplistic. Damn near gifted on a silver platter. I will say that much, though. I don't think that St. Edwards knew exactly what they had all the way until a few of those kills came all the way through. It is all laughs and smiles on the face of both Vanity, or Reality also joining in the bits, as well as Thresh. This is exactly what you wanted for St. Edwards here versus Davenport to start off hot with a hardpoint win.
I mean, we said that there were going to be a couple of key players to look out for. I don't think we guessed that it was going to be like a 1v1 between the two of them to possibly determine the outcome of the map, but Thresh just got 3 individual 1v1s, holding on to Anvil the entire time. And says, all right, boys, I did my job. You just win a battle on rotation, and we got this thing. Boy, did they ever. And just think about how many costly decisions there were here for Davenport. It starts with this P2 to open up. And there's 30 seconds left from the hard point, and I don't know if the replay will capture the moment, but Davenport have 3 members at the front door. You called it ding-dong ditch. That was pretty much like DoorDash dropping your order off and saying, I'm done, I'm out of here. Because they had everything sitting at the front door, and they said, all right, take it. Like, you had the chance to get the break there, and that scrap time, how important that could have been. That was 25 seconds of the time.
It would have been good time to contest, because you had Sheldon all the way bottom ring. The spawns were anchored for P3. You still had players for St. Edwards technically anchoring the spawn for P2. That's 20 seconds that you need to contest. Now, obviously that did not break the game, because, I mean, that P3 to P4, specifically for the Panthers, was just so good. St. Edwards were able to at least sniff their way back in. It was this piece together that came through from Thresh, and then Eon's finding the next two in succession, which really did it for me. I mean, if Sheldon was the walking 5-piece monster, it always felt like Thresh was the 1v1 seeker, and he was always able to at least walk away with multi-kills after multi-kills, once again opening up the presence on the map for players like Eons, who was just flying into everybody's face, even down to that last little crucial 1v1. It just felt like Eons had all of the map to play with. It just felt like that Davenport didn't seemingly have much of an answer when it came down to all these SMGs in their face.
Man, Thresh, the hero, finishes 32-21, 26 non-traded kills. With 13 assists, the guy almost dropped 4K damage. On the other side, 33-21 for Sheldon. He does break that 4K threshold. Even gets a minute and a half in the hard point, but end of the day, it just came down to the simple fact that Thresh was getting a lot of 1v1s, and there's no worries about that. I mean, it just felt like St. Edwards so many times on rotation were just so good to help one another out and find these small advantages that led to moments where you start to feel comfortable with one person or another in the hard point. You got 3 players over a minute.
Yeah.
One almost at 2 with Vanity. So, I mean, Eons does his job. Just says, all right, boys, you get in the OBJ. I'll make sure you have the space to stay comfortable in it.
And there's one thing that that rings all the way true that you brought up during P3 in the second set, and that's the team shots for St. Edwards. Look at all those assists. All the damage is being shared across the board. It's just absolutely the teamwork that I felt like St. Edwards were surely missing when it came down to their matchup in that map number 1 versus the Dragons. So, step in your step, you get the first foot forward. If you are the Hilltoppers, you were able to take the map number 1. Now, the real question needs to be asked. What do these two teams look like stacked up against each other in this search and destroy, specifically on Hotel?
Well, you just saw St. Edwards on this map just a moment ago.
Sure did.
It was not pretty.
Nope.
Say that much.
Mm-hmm.
So for St. Edwards, this is all about trying to find a way to kind of make some quick adjustments and adaptations to what you just had play out against you with the University of North America. And I will say Davenport, hey, their search and destroy has categorically been one of their better modes overall. But boy, do they need it, because we've said this a couple of times now today already. You go down 0-2 in these circumstances where we don't have a lot to work off. It's hard for us to build a narrative like, how are you going to reverse sweep? It feels like you have to win your map mode combos. Whatever you pick, you have to win. And we have not seen that happen for these two teams yet. So for Davenport, now it's time to kind of put up or shut up, because you go down 0-2, this series may just be over.
Yep. I mean, you go back and you actually look at the map number 2 versus Fisher. Davenport were able to win 6-5, albeit that was on LSCLO. It's very, very different. And again, this is why I talked very specific about the veto process, is that this is something that St. Edwards are not messing around with. I mean, how could you? You're 0-2 in senior group. You have to win this matchup. So they get rid of both LSCLOs. They force out the Hotel. But I think that is just, again, one of those things that when it came down to that map number 2, when me and Visions were casting over top of it, you had almost every single piece of the puzzle working well for St. Edwards. It just came down to the execution. The reactions were just not there whatsoever. Sure. They just did not understand what was being thrown at them from the Dragons. And there was also a lot of one-dimensional, the same simple rollouts continuously for St. Edwards on their offense, which is so easy to digest for the Dragons. But I think even more so than that, surely you got to have a deeper playbook when you have players like Eons and Thresh on this roster.
Yeah, it may just be, again, one of those things. You need a spark plug. You need someone to kind of take a mantle, take a role, and then dominate in that role for everyone else to feel comfortable in whatever they happen to be doing as well. So lots of things for us to kind of at least theory craft on. Just comes down to the execution, because like we mentioned, if you're joining us here late, this is a must-win matchup for both these two teams if they want to extend their stay here in Columbus to not just today, but also to tomorrow. Winners round 1 action will be happening immediately after this matchup, and then tomorrow we'll jump down to the lower bracket where either of these two teams would be. We already know what the status of Group B looks like. There's going to be some combination of Fisher or University of North America in the 1 and the 2. Then whoever wins this one will be the 3rd team that will start their run in the lower bracket. So this is a tight one here, tough one, and it's just one of those things that 2 of these squads, they're both returning from last year. Only one of them will make it to where they got to last year in terms of total placement. It's just been one of those years that the CCL's been more competitive. Every single time we come out and field new rosters, there are new contestants that pop their heads up. We're already in that here in the group stage.
How many teams do we have back in BO4?
32.
32?
Yeah.
How many teams do we have this year?
Like 260 plus.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the competition's going to forever continue to just erupt. I mean, there's so much talent. Whether you're looking at teams, say, like even Fisher, I mean, you got a world champ on that team. You got Silly, you got Rex, the top statistical leader when it comes down to challengers, top AMs across the board. Timmy Phantoms is coaching that team, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But even more so than that, I feel like for a lot of these collegiate athletes, you know that it's going to be tested. And both of these two teams throughout the entirety of the regular season, we were breaking down the report cards. I mean, it just felt like it was such a rocky road, and maybe all the promise maybe not being delivered on when it comes down to their previous placing in Vanguard. Maybe we put too much stock into it, but that's truly just where the competition is at. Find yourself here on day number 1 of group play, the final group play match here on broadcast that, again, it is quite literally put up or shut up. The pressure is surely on here. Davenport need this map to win.
Tall ask. Both these two teams, this series may come down to who finds a way to kind of get their playbook even running in the first place. So we'll find out. St. Edward's looking to correct their mistakes that they had made just previously against University of North America. They will start on the defense first. And oh boy, all 4 of them hitting right to the middle of the map. Davenport is not away from this, though. They're trying to hit through rug side door. It's a dangerous hit. And they will kind of stay back just a touch. Sheldon damage into Thresh, who backs off and respects the play.
Reality, he's trying to go back to the side door. His timing is a little bit weird. Should end up seeing at least these 2 players dive across. The data is going to keep Reality rather honest. A lot of isolated plays. Gecko's locking down the flank to boot.
Yeah, that's really big from Gecko. Drax also finding one of the defensive contested over through the front side, and St. Edwards just were not in a position to get a read on this flank. Gecko, take it down by Eons. It's time to play for this regen. Fragmentation grenade at the ready, sees Thrax. Avoids him. Now the next question, could he get Sheldon? No, not going to happen. Davenport, I mean, hey, they get their read through Rug's Alley, saying, okay, there are multiple members here at mid. We need to either commit or back off. You can't just sit in the middle, and they did a nice job kind of committing forward.
Yeah, like the setup was there. It's just, again, the execution when it comes down to it for St. Edwards was just so weird. I mean, even like if you have all 4 players through the atrium and you at least see at least 2, maybe 3 players pushing through the restaurant side, complete that pinch. Don't worry. If you have to play retake over by the A-bomb, play retake over by the A-bomb. Just try to at least keep numbers in your favor instead of just dispersing like a bunch of ants.
Well, I think the problem was that Gecko was in a really good spot to get the read, and they just had to continue to play further and further back than they wanted to, getting around that player. So tall setup when it comes to Davenport, setting the tone early. St. Edwards feeling things out through mid. Thrax is really far forward. He doesn't have an exit here. There is no one to get him out. That Septek's not well placed, though. And so Thrax extends his life. That stun's also not very good. And that allows Thrax an exit. I mean, he should have been dead to rights, and now to make matters worse, Sheldon gets a flank. The bomb's trying to be planted. Gecko is not able to dissuade it, so we'll go 3v3 post-plant. Watch out for Sheldon on the flank.
Nobody's turning around for him. You got one player on the Godheady. It's a little bit late. Reality's just going to play inside this corner, but now he's joined by Exit coming through Statue.
Wow, this is all just who sees who first. Reality get back to the front desk. Tib finds him, but no one will expect Vanity to be all the way up here. Dead Silence, though, has expired. He has to check for the defuse. Pokes pushes the door, sees Gecko. Bomb still being defused, though, and yeah, Sheldon's just going to stick that. Davenport will get the second round. Another one of those situations where just the nades just need to connect at that point. There should have been no reason Thrax gets out of that position forward.
Nope. Look at Thrax. He is just so chilled, unfazed. But like even for like a post-plant situation as well, you lose one player by Chandelier on the flank. It just felt like it was like super delayed to at least get yourself back inside a check-in. And we actually saw that versus the Dragons earlier, where Eons is forced to not be able to get the stretch plant. He plants in the opposite side, and there was no cover for that bomb plant.
Quick hit this time for Vanity. Look how far forward he's been able to get. Playing just into that corner. Help from Eons watching an aggressive angle in his own right. First blood happens over towards the B side, so no antics towards the B side this time as St. Edwards have the lockdown. Thrax will get through mid, though. Contact's been made. Thresh has seen this, and Vanity will also read that, yep, I'm in trouble. Let me just back up. Let's deal with the threat through mid. Then we could play for retake, but Eons doesn't back all the way out, and now all of a sudden,
no.
Davenport get 2 free kills round A.
Oh, it's all gone so wrong. 2v3. Bomb plant open. Sheldon's going to get the plant, and Thrax just gets in their face. Reality nowhere to go. Thresh 1v3.
And this is another one of those moments for St. Edwards, kind of like we were talking about in their first defense, where they didn't fully commit to the flank or reinforcing B. Same situation. Thrax should either be isolated or ignored. They're a little bit of both. They're trying to happen. It's like St. Edwards see the play happening, and they say, we're going to try to combat everything.
Yeah.
That's good credit to Davenport. They're putting pressure all over the map, and St. Edwards are not making good commitment calls as far as how they want to deal with it.
I think that it mostly just also comes down to, yes, Davenport are putting themselves in very good positions to take those 1v1s and try to force out the isolation. I just think that mostly comes down to St. Edwards giving them that isolation rather than just trying to put a little bit more focus on
absolutely.
these integral parts of the map. Top, bottom bedroom. I mean, got to see some adaptations coming through. Sheldon is yet to die, by the way. He is on one this series, 4-0.
Similar look here for St. Edwards. Vanity will use the trophy system as his way to contest. Gecko may just pop this door. Wait to see if he can maybe kind of catch someone on this plant. He is by himself, though, the only defender at A at the moment. Davenport heavy stacked and kind of blind guessing that this could be a B hit. That is not the case.
Good coverage.
They lose their defender over towards A, but they do gain a kill on the flank. St. Edwards will back up towards mid. Try to stop this Davenport retake from coming around the back, and Ian has gotten a shoulder check. And oh, yeah. Melts one, knows that Sheldon's nearby. Good help from Reality. So much better for St. Edwards. Exhib, last one left, 1v3. Not in a good spot to do too much with this. No dead silence. Does have both of his nades. First shots are decent, but time is now becoming an enemy. 15 seconds on the clock. He's going to have to commit, and this is not a route that will allow you to do that.
No, it will not. Takes you 7.5 seconds to get the defuse. Gets the next one for free on the Eons, but that bomb is going to detonate. No idea that Vanity was able to work his way back inside of luggage. And I will say this much, I mean, Davenport probably would have had a much bit easier time of that if Gecko just doesn't come flying out of luggage without any sort of coverage top lights. You had a player that was on the God Hattie, and maybe if you can creep open the door and you see the stretch plan coming through on the opposite side of the bomb, maybe you can get that kill, but got to be able to hold your life and wait for those few players to commit towards the flank, which, to be fair, Davenport did, but the post-plant situation, to your point there, Alan, was so much cleaner for the Hilltoppers. They execute on the plan. It works out wonderfully. They finally get on the board.
It all starts with the fact that they get that isolated kill over towards the flank, too.
100%.
Okay. Davenport, next offense. All four members making their way either to contest mid or A. A little double stack, actually, over towards this mid archway. We've got Thrax already making a play down low. He's by himself for the moment. Vanity sniping through luggage. That is a new element now here for the St. Edwards defense. He's going to get a chance here. Oh, but looks away and then... Luggage pop.
Getting rowdy over there.
Oh, man, look at the bedroom play from Davenport.
Yeah, you already got Sheldon up top. I mean, who's the most defense in here? It's going to be what Reality is up top working. Sheldon's going to get some free looks. Reality's not moving, by the way, and Vanity can't really do anything about it. Reality finally finds first blood. That at least keeps bedroom in your favor, and he knows that Sheldon's here now.
Oh, and Sheldon just drops into Vanity's waiting arms. A little miscue there from the Panthers as now Exhibit Gecko are saying, well, we can't deal with the AR or the sniper rifle. Maybe we try to make a play over towards B, see if they can force something. Exhib has gotten over to Secret for the time being, and will track down Thrash, so that should be a 2v1 here at B. They don't have time to wait, though. Eon's on top. Hello, surprise, how are you? Employees only back here, thank you very much. He'll take the second one as well and St. Edwards 2 in a row.
Can't come into the kitchen while the restaurant is open. Reality just sitting there having a little bit of a chuckle as well. I mean, he was playing that corner for like ever. I was sitting there waiting, like, because Sheldon was making a lot of noise, top lights. He just was not budging. Top bedroom just knew that that had to be a power position that needs to be maintained. And that's the adaptation to come all the way through specifically for St. Edwards, is that they pull out the sniper for Vanity. You know, gets gifted that kill, but it's the pressure that is still there nonetheless, that they are waiting for these unforced errors to be thrown their way from Davenport. It works out for St. Edwards' favor as they take a 2 round in a row.
First look towards B here, full commitment from St. Edwards as well. Doors will be stunned open at Ruggs. Sheldon is the only contested, and as soon as he makes contact, he has to keep his life and rotate deep. That's exactly what he'll do. Sneaks in just to try to see if anyone's already into B. Not the case yet. He's on the way to help. Nice stun, nade, combo. Slows things down. And how about Thrax? He just pushes right through middle. Now Sheldon's gotten a kill inside the B site. Not good news here for St. Edwards as they're in real dire threat of being trapped inside of B, and that's exactly the case. Reality now last one left would have to be 1v3 for the ace.
Last time we saw Reality 1v3, the bomb was already planted. Yeah, he needs to go on a recovery mission. Here's some footsteps behind him. Thrax is here, by the way, and again, it's 2 players on 2 different sides that made a heads-up play. When that push was starting to develop, and you already had all the Hilltoppers inside the restaurant, Thresh doubled back just to be able to hang out inside the double arches. But, I mean, Thrax, I mean, I'm not even playing against the kid right now, but he's just got to be annoying, where you just got to be guessing where he's going to be lurking at, always pushing through the atrium, finds that first blood on the Thresh, and that coordinates a pinch from the opposite side. It works out wonderfully for Sheldon, who was just, again, he barely missing some shots right now. He is shooting absolute laser beams out of his AR.
Yeah, just good contact play, too. Just, again, staying safe the whole way through. Let Thrax do what Thrax does best, but like you mentioned, Sheldon Contact around B. This time, Thrax forces a gunfight mid. Did not have any nades to support him on that play. So he'll drop. But still, Sheldon is committed to getting into B. Big finish onto as Exhib takes down one. And then contact here. Sheldon finds another. That should lead to a B play. This is as much control as you could ever want if you're the Panthers.
Thresh still thinks that the A push can very much so still happen. It's not all the information in the world after losing one of his teammates. Now the retake is going to be on. Vanity needs to play his life, wait for his teammate. Still has a Semtex to use if he wants it out.
Gun does land. This is going to be a little breach and clear from both players for St. Edwards. Not going to happen. Semtex out, damage in, but no kills. Davenport. That's what I wanted to see from St. Edwards in the last round. Doesn't matter what happens as your contact through rugs. If you're going to commit to getting into B, get into B. You know, I mean, there can only be so many players that are defending over towards the B side, and even after losing first blood, Davenport still forced the play, and it works out.
Yeah. I mean, that's just absolutely just what you love to see for Search and Destroy. The commitment of the play. And just understanding exactly what you said. I mean, more often than not, you have like 2 defenders over at B, and realistically, there's only either one inside the site or inside a restaurant. Sheldon again. Just absolutely firing off on all cylinders. He's on 5 in a row. Bo's yet to find a kill. Joining the agency here at 0-7 is Davenport up on map point.
Guns through mid. Davenport more passive through middle this time, looking for a double stack. Thrax still trying to get a bit aggressive, or at least give himself a chance at it. Meanwhile, Vanity already committed the bomb over towards A. And he will drop. Sheldon's going to take down another. Thresh does deal with one, looking for the early pinch. Still, this is a tough 2v4 circumstance, especially considering the bomb is down. Thresh keeps his life, changes the angle, sees Exhib on the crossover towards bottom bar. Help up top from Gecko, not good enough.
Oh!
How about Thresh? He gets another. Now it's just down to Sheldon. He's on 7 as the cruise missile, but he's in a 1v2, and now this would be an ace for Sheldon if he could find it.
I was wondering if he's going to put himself in a position to maybe try to call it in. Rips Eons off of the desk. And Thresh, he can't commit towards the plant. He's expecting the challenge that silence has been popped. Sheldon's going to re-wrap through mid.
I don't know if Thresh has seen him, but they're both wrapping the same direction. Sheldon passive, Thresh pops up, 1v1, and Thresh will take the dub. Hero play from Thresh again, keeps his team alive, but boy, that really could have gone either way.
Thresh comes into this round 0-7, he just gets the entire race. Just casual.
Yeah, good.
Just got to bring up Mo more often, I suppose. That's my bad, gangster. But I mean, you had everything working well for you if you are Davenport. A lot of good map positioning, isolation, first blood. Thresh just comes out of the woodworks, and he's like, hey, took the ace to go. My team is staying alive in this. Snappy plays. The read onto the player over by the L desk. Eviscerates the player top bed. Works out wonderfully. Sheldon, no. Still has that cruise missile in his back pocket. 12-3 now.
They're going to force the play back over towards B again. This time there will be a little bit more help. Got Eons, who should throw a shoulder here at Freezer. Thresh also kind of finessing over towards Rug. Semtex comes through. Thrax trying to chase the kill. Careful. Don't need to step too much further forward. And Eons is going to be playing a 1-for-1 corner in Freezer here. He just needs to get one, and that would be fine. And by this position, he may be able to get more than just the first if he stays safe from any opening utility.
He's just waiting for the point of contact. He's not going to get it as Sun comes through, and that's enough to actually bait out the reaction to come through from reality. Vanity was the only player that was over by check, and he overextends through statue. And now that's the information that you need from the Hilltoppers. His play now offensively was attempting to at least come back through over towards A, but it's a bait. Back to the restaurant.
This is on Eons. He's going to get contact for at least one. Likely more than that. He should be able to hear some of these footsteps as well. And yeah, he may have Thresh is already on the rotation over. There's the contact. Eons gets more than one. He gets 2. Almost takes down the 3rd. But Eons has more than done his job. Bomb being planted. Thresh, reality. One door already open. Thrax will fall. They did not see Gecko cross, though. Dead silence has been popped. He's being hit by both sides at the same time. Here comes the double shell. He gets one. Turns almost gets a chance at Thresh, but he was fully healthy, and now Thresh is on 5 in a row. And St. Edwards bring this back to within 1.
They still have that cruise missile in their back pocket for Davenport. Back and forth bait plays. Catching St. Edwards on a multitude of rotations, but that's why we continuously highlight. I mean, Eons as that defender over by B. Last defense, he was sitting on top of the strongest TV I've ever seen in my life.
There's boxes that you can get on top of over there, but...
No.
The first time.
That one makes more sense. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's still, like, fruit and vegetables inside that box. But, like, it's just the patience. And, again, as you were talking about the communication, just to be able to hear what footsteps, what audio cues that he did, Thresh just comes sprinting past Jacuzzi for the assistance. Going 1-for-1 would have been great, but he finds 2.
5-4. St. Edwards need to crack the code on offense here. And they may be throwing out a bit of a fake of their own. Thresh trying to look to see if anyone's going to get greedy through B. Vanity kind of doing the same thing over towards mid, watching with the couches. And yeah, St. Edwards, they're going to stay alive throughout this cruise, no worries. But how much space does Thrax take after off of this? That's the real question. Makes contact with one, but can't finish the kill. And everything stays pretty neutral here. Just keep an eye on Exhib, who's floated up through Restaurant.
No dead silence. So this is where he will have to stay on the stairs. 3 players now. Trying to push through P4. The double desk. Gecko is just playing off the point of contact. If he can find one, it'd be great.
The shot's out. Nate doesn't tag him, but Neon still gets through. No bedroom presence, though, for St. Edwards. Oh, but wait a second. Thresh has gotten into couch. Eons gets the plant and keeps his life. Thresh is in a position to win this round flat out. Vanity takes one. Thresh tries to scout out the trade and will grab it. Sheldon trying to break this way back through, but Thresh in the middle of the map gets another. And Davenport's stuck. They can't get across the middle of the map at the moment. Thresh is repositioning for bedroom. He's got dead silence out. He could win the round just by sitting right here. Reality's going to make contact first. Thresh will be the lifeline. There's the contact play. Reality, lots of damage. When do you check this if you're Thresh? And he's not.
No.
He's going to call up the cruise.
Does that get down in time?
Doesn't get down here in time. It's already to 3/4. It's got to
get down in
go.
time.
It's got to go. No. He gets both kills, but the defuse comes through. And Davenport will get the round by maybe 1/10 of a second.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't like that call. I feel weird on the inside watching that. I don't like that. I don't like that call at all. I mean, it was a Herculean effort for Thresh through, what was that, 2-3 rounds in a row, essentially, that came through for St. Edwards. Be able to at least get himself out of the Donut Club up to 7 in a row. And,
yeah.
But, I mean, for the end-all, be-all, all off the contact that, what was it, Reality in that point in time through check-in. He gets completely run over. The damage almost ends up going 1-for-1. That Thresh doesn't like his positioning bottom luggage, which, again, the bomb was planted for, technically speaking, that he just needed to find one. And he just needed to spam through the door to confirm the hit markers and bait out a challenge.
I'm surprised that Thresh, on that long wrap, even decided to go bottom luggage in the first place. I thought for sure he was going to go all the way up top, play from top bedroom. But it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't type situations, because you call that in 0.2 seconds earlier, you look like a god. Because there's not an easy way to make contact through those doors. Flat out, it's just no stuns or nades to pop the door open for you. You have to commit forward.
It was already ajar.
Timing, I mean, at 16 seconds, they always say that magic threshold of hitting a defuse is right at 15 because, you know, you're, again, stuck in this 50-50 situation of when do you check that if you're the sole defender left of that post plant. And so, yeah, that's a decision that very well may exist in the mind of Thresh for a while, but you know, hindsight's 20/20, and honestly, this map was, I think, lost way before that decision if you're St. Edwards. They just did not look fully prepared, and it just feels like there's a trust issue in when they're committing to make a call.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. It's just that I feel like it's a continuation of what we have been talking about with the Hilltoppers throughout the entirety of the regular season, playoffs, qualifiers, whatever may have you, is that when it comes down to search and destroy, unless you have one player popping off, like there was Thresh's ace there at the end. Sheldon's face of disbelief that he just got absolutely eviscerated through dead silence. It's a little windy, but I think that it's just one of those things for St. Edwards. Unless you have one player making pop-off plays like we saw from Neons in the early stages, Thresh here in the later half, it's just that they barely win maps. And here's the final little look as well from the Hilltoppers camp. Defuse comes through with 0.2 seconds, a little pop-off there from Gecko as well. Thrax just here, strictly business. And look, Davenport, we talked about it. They needed this S&D win. S&D in control has been their go-to when it comes down to map victories throughout the entirety of the regular season. But let's talk about our boy Sheldon, shall we? 1,800 damage, 13-5 through the search and destroy. Also got himself 2 first bloods to boot. The only one that got first bloods for St. Edwards was Reality, and the majority of all that came through from realistically just playing through the hallway over by Restaurant.
Yeah. Really interesting search and destroy, though, flat out.
For sure.
Lots of weird stuff going through, but it ends in a round 11 fashion. How about it? Okay, so with that, we get to a 1-1 series count. That's the more macro important part here, is the fact that Davenport don't find themselves down 0-2. A little late heroic coming out of St. Edwards, but doesn't quite work out for them, so everything stays level as now we head over to a hotel control to go up for map number 3. Important swing map in this series, and we'll have it after this break. Before we do, want to make sure we give a good shout out to our sponsors for once again helping us put this all on here in Columbus. Of course, Fandom has been a part of it all year long, but Nelnet Bank, if you're looking to learn more about how you can invest into your future, whether that be in your college career or otherwise, check out nelnetbank.com, member FDIC, and also make sure you navigate over to their scholarship section to figure out how you can kind of help your way in towards higher education. But with that, map 2 comes to an end, and map 3 waits for us here on the backside of this break. We'll step away. Don't go far. More College Chicago after this. Overall from Texas State, but more importantly, how about what we have in front of us right here and the story that Sheldon's been able to put together? I mean, we talk about the fact that a lot of this Davenport team came back from last year. Sheldon has been having himself a whale of a series, though. It definitely been, I think, the biggest X factor here for this Davenport Panthers team.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like a little bit of a silly goober because I sat here and I talked that Thrax was the one that needed to pop off, and Sheldon is the one that's been delivering on the goods. Like, his shot has been unreal. On that map number 1, he delivered a 30 bomb out of nowhere, which is always in the right position at the right time, just catching all of these players of the Hilltoppers, just crossing out of the open, and he was absolutely feasting. He drops, 13 kills in the map number 2?
Yeah.
He was just overwatching Thrax go through some of the most egregious pushes through the atrium that I have ever seen on Hotel Search and Destroy, and hey, whatever works. You won the search. Now we'll sign up one apiece.
That duality, I think, is going to be a real important process that could extend into this hotel control as well, by the way, for what it's worth. Those two guys I've mentioned they've played up together now for a while. But it's one of those things that this hotel control that we have coming up next doesn't necessarily favor one team or the other. It actually kind of favors both of them. Based on what we had seen through the regular season, this has been the most played control map for both these two squads. Kind of at a glance, the stats that we kind of had recorded and sent our way, St. Edwards were 9-3 in the hotel control, whereas Davenport have at least 4 playthroughs recorded. They were 3-1 based on what we could pick together. I imagine there are more results than that, but talk about an even battleground when it comes down to the swing map here in map number 3.
First time these two teams are going to be playing hotel control on land, and Expo and El Asilo as well. So just as much as we can always put stock into what these two teams look like on the regular season, the transition here to a LAN environment is just so important. Your shot needs to be on point. The decision-making needs to be there as well. And I think that's what's been really scary for St. Edwards. We found ourselves continuously bringing that up through the search and destroy was the commitment. And when it came down to these opening breakoffs, even in the previous one on El Asilo that we saw them against the Dragons, it just was not convincing enough. It just felt like that their team shots were not as good as what we got to see in that map number 1. You can have that as a continuation as far as a map-to-map in this specific series that the St. Edwards Hilltoppers require if they want to take a big sweet map mode combo here.
About to find out. Getting post loading in by the look of it. Everyone's settling into their positions, except for Thrax, who's still just hanging out.
He's vibing, man.
Guy's just happy to be here. Gotta love the chill vibes, though. Anything but a chill environment, though, as we jump on into map number 3. Important one in the mix. And you saw that Hydro hardpoint just lurking for the next map up. Both teams have seen it. Both teams have not looked particularly great at it. So that is just another one of those even battlegrounds that you come in and anything can happen. So an important one here. Let's find out. It's going to be the side of St. Edwards on for their opening offense. Little split hit here. A lot of focus in through mid-map, which Exib is more than ready for. That's an easy double for him. Everyone lining up at him. Not only that, these ARs are split here, so you don't really get an effort or a look at either of the zones. And now Gecko, the sole defender over towards A, gets the read for a 1. Exib transitioning over, maybe for more, goes to the drop shot, but Thresh gets the kill, and St. Edwards to stop the clock.
One player, and that's going to be Thresh on the zone. Space needs to be provided. Vanity's pushed all the way up through Chandelier. Thresh will now be bumped out of the zone from Reality to be able to soak up that first segment. It's been locked. Now you've got to be able to try to retake through the atrium as well. Thresh. Got to be able to lock down those shots. Luckily enough, Eons was inside a Secret to lock away that kill. And the way the Panthers are suggesting on the minimap, they are more than comfortable to chalk this. Allen lives are even. Over towards B we go.
Oh, big gunfight win there from Gecko. Thresh is able to find that one. Floodgates could open quickly. Eons on the corner. Stunned, naded. Stays alive, holds couches for his team. Play for St. Edwards looks to be through the A zone and around the back through Chandelier. Gecko is on the heady waiting for this. Does not maybe see Vanity on the cross, though. Oh, boy. This could get real nasty real quick. Vanity's going to catch out Gecko. And now a chance to move through spawn. This should start to move the defensive spawns around, but on recovery is Exhibit. Oh, he gets a huge double.
Dude.
Shuts down the play around the back, and they should know that Vanity's still lurking, and they found him.
Yep, they sure have. I mean, you just got to stay alive here, Vanity. The longer that Vanity stays alive, the further that the Panthers will be spawning away from the B control zone. But, I mean, Eons finally pushes all the way through lights. He gets over towards the L desk and gets cut down. You need to clear Thrax out of this positioning, and luckily enough for you, Vanity is doing a great job of staying alive inside the spawn. It's just the last player of Thrax. You get this kill, you can get on the B zone. Trades are here.
Important kill, though. Also a little bit of help through mid-map. Vanity also flushed out a spot, and look at that. Thrax spawns right up on top of that elimination. So, yeah, you've got Thresh out for now, but he's essentially by himself, even more so that Eons gets blown away from mid-desk. So Thresh, what can he find? Lots of damage. No kills as of yet. Exhib looking to challenge. Good help from the supporting cast, though, of St. Edwards, who now have a chance to help out Thresh completely. Beatdown allows a lot of damage to come in. Reality will stay on this zone with the double stack with Eons. Trophy system's also here. Second to progress going to get locked. Reality trying to hold this upward cross. Thrax shut down. Kills looking good. Triple stack on. Exhib can do nothing through mid. And St. Edwards take a quick first offense.
Yeah, you just wish that you had a different tool for that trade if you are Exhib. I mean, if you were able to find at least some assistance, maybe able to at least find a trade from a teammate over by check-in through Spa as well, then his positioning would have been that much more potent to be able to come all the way around from Valet. Maybe top or bottom bedroom, but he had to cut through Fountain, just look through the middle of the map. Thresh, you got an AR in hand. Definitely the better tool for that one. St. Edwards, I mean, off of a very unfortunate and I will say unorthodox opening rip, they were able to scathe away from the closest spawns over at A, find the trade required, get 60 seconds out on towards the board, and luckily enough for Vanity to stay alive over in Spa to make that play alive over by B.
Davenport on the offense. Hard focus towards A with a little bit of contest over the middle of the map. Trophy systems, of course, being earned here will allow St. Edwards to continue to contest this through the middle. But no one's actually over towards A, so this is already going to be a pretty quick concession of the first tick, if not more. St. Edwards kind of scramble off spawn to figure out what exactly they want to do to try to control this A zone, or at least recontest it.
I don't think that they can, honestly. I mean, you got two players on the A zone, and I mean, Gecko just finds two for free over inside of Chandelier, untradeable, and now we're just throwing lives away, apparently, if you're the Hilltoppers. Vanity, at least he was able to get inside top bedroom, but you got to take down Gecko. Thresh will find that trade. That'll stop streaks from coming through, but now you just have to try to stabilize. More kills required to get control of the map.
Yeah, important roles here for Vanity and Thresh. Reality on the staircase, tries to contest Sheldon. Chase down on the way, but Sheldon can't quite lock him up. Now he'll just back away. Chase on from Vanity. Lots of damage on both sides, but here we go. Hilltoppers started to find themselves on top of the kill feed. They even up the lives at 24 apiece, and Davenport spawning way outside. We're just hoping for an opening here from Thrax, and he may have actually provided it. He sees Reality drop down and towards lower Valet. He's on the hunt. Teammates should be with him, but they've lost track of him. Reality has slipped the net.
He's out of this Reality. He gone. Sheldon, no. Finds a two-piece. Big trade to take down for Eons over by the Godheady as well. Now Reality needs to get activated. He's the only player alive that can stop this.
You have to know that he's back here in some form. Oh, and Exhib lucky to be alive. Reality catching just too much wallbang collateral damage. Thresh trying to work his way back in towards Bar. Help from Reality clears the zone off. First tick. Was it fully locked? No, it wasn't. Depletion started to come through now as all of a sudden St. Edwards have reclaimed not just the zone, but also some forward map control. Eon's going to make a route happen. Vanity's watching the flank through mid, but this is really all on Eons. What timing can he grab? First one good. Thrax doesn't turn around. Thrax doesn't turn around. Eons gets the double. And now all of a sudden it's an 18v18, but St. Edwards hold the map control.
I mean, Eons didn't even have dead silence. And now you have full bedroom control. You also have Vanity maintaining this presence around Statue as well. He's going to get pushed through the double arches. Gecko should be able to find this kill scot-free. Yeah, he sure will. You also have Exib to worry about. He's made his way all the way through back spot. Dead silence has already been utilized. Hello, hey, how we doing, Reality? Freest kill this side of the Mississippi. And now all that map positioning we were just talking about while it's down the drain.
Spawns will still be top right-hand side, but Vanity does recontrol Spa side. Thrax get into work to get more progress done on A. They're cut just a touch short of the last time through. Good nades over the top. Trophy system couldn't get there in time. Gecko clears out mid-desk, though, so Exib will still follow up. Gets on into the zone. Challenge from Vanity. Eons and the rest of the crew coming off spawn will also find an exit. So we have an 11v12, 33 seconds, but once again, the first tick's being dwindled.
Statue control here, down to 27 seconds. There's nobody around bedroom as well. Eons is in no man's land. He's trying to commit towards the flank, but Davenport have already pushed through. Now they can stack the zone.
On Eons gets stuck by Thrax's nade. Two members on. First tick good, second on the way. Gecko's looking for the playthrough Spa. He could hit this late over towards bar side. He's going to be able to see one. Here's the pinch. Gets the one and the second. Clean up from Davenport looking good. Third tick of progress will be there. clean stuff from the Panthers late into the round. Tie us up at 1 apiece.
And goodness me, did Gecko showcase exactly why he was a force to be reckoned with in control through the regular season. Sheldon, again, continuing on with his absolute rampage at 14-8, which is opening up with so many different two pieces. It just comes down to, what was that, like the third attempt over towards B when St. Edwards were able to stabilize. You had Reality over by bedroom, bottom luggage stairs, and he's, instead of playing inside a luggage or top of bottom bed, he's laying prone under, like right next to the stairs. And that flank that comes through from Exhibit, it was just too free for my liking. St. Edwards gave away way too much map control. Now you got Gecko on a 6-3, got a cruise missile. Sheldon went away from getting a cruise missile. Panthers, all the tools in the world.
Gecko's going to get a trophy system down. He is formidable as a sole defender, but no one's able to help out through mid-map. So with that said, Edwards will get a quick entry on towards the A site. Eon's holding Chandelier, wants more than that. Goodness, this is greedy. It may just work out. Gecko's next one up, and, well, he was ready for it. So there will at least be some sort of a shutdown. Thresh will put a little bit of pressure on towards the B zone. This will force Davenport to make a decision, and, well, it's made a little bit easier. Sheldon will get his 6th elimination from behind, clear out the B zone, and hold on a second, the Panthers may still be able to fight for this A zone.
We all actually got to see this in their first defense as well. They are so quick just to chalk it. They understand just as well as anybody that plays a lot of control in Modern Warfare 2. Just cannot afford to throw away a lot of lives. Reality. Mantle over the top will take down Gecko. Needs to get himself inside a spot. Also saw Exib over by the bar as well. Just playing with his food. Exib, that's a big kill to find for yourself. Still got one more player back here. It's Vanity.
Eon's working on bedroom control, though, at the same time. St. Edwards got a lot of things cooking. Just comes down to which of these stakes will the fire strike. Vanity's still holding a corner. No one's been able to catch him yet. I mean, this is literally just, if he gets a kill, all of a sudden the collapse should be on towards the zone. Same thing can be said, though, for Sheldon on the other side. And as he gets a kill into Thresh, now all of a sudden SCU feel like they kind of have to make a play. Force Sheldon out of position. Eon's able to catch him. But Davenport, in the same breath, cleans out their backside. Reality's on the zone for now, but he's just got Eons and Thresh watching over the top. Long route from Exib again. This is going to feel familiar. Thrax clears out the front. Exib clears out mid. And Davenport get their defense back into play.
You still got Thrax that we're worried about. I mean, Thresh needs to find this trade, and he will be able to get the jump chow from Thrax. That's a big kill to find for yourself. Now there needs to be more closure as far as bottom bed is concerned. You're still going to be worried about Gecko. He's still maintaining couches. But I love this call continuously from St. Edwards. They understand damn well they have to constantly get players inside a spot if they want to get a confident push over towards B.
And Reality's in a weird situation where you could get hit from behind, but he takes the gunfight from the front. Also sees Gecko hit the corner. He's going to be able to lock this down. Gecko crosses towards elevator ladder. Still in a position to possibly get isolated. Yeah, Thresh will capitalize on the kill. Sheldon up top. He's going to have to be able to clear this out. First kill, good. He's got a lot more in front of him, though. Second one down low in the corner. He catches a couple of toes. That will work out for the defense. 15 plays 14. Minute 12 on the clock. And we've got Davenport still in a pretty convincing place of control. Just comes down to, do they know that Vanity is stuck all the way through Spa?
You have so much time to work if you are St. Edwards. And you feel like it's going to be this guy on your screen, Vanity. Needed to be able to go 1 for 1 there, but luckily enough, Reality on the opposite side. Combos along with the Eons and Thresh, 3 dead. That third segment is locked. That is another offensive round here. 3 in a row for these two teams.
Yeah, all offense all the time, apparently.
It's Hotel, right?
Yeah, it is Hotel at this level. And I think the thing about this for both teams, you know, now that we have to have a conversation about what does it take to get the defense going, help each other out a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of those individuals that are trying to make their way into bedroom, but you've got players that are nearby that can assist. It feels like everyone's trying to make a play by themselves. Trying to get, you know, small routes around through catwalk, small routes in around the back through previously captured A zones to get behind the offense towards B. Help each other out. Get a setup going here.
Top look for Exib. Very tough task he's been dealt throughout this control. Only at 9 and 16. Gecko at 20 and 15. 21 and 17 for Eons. I mean, this guy is just getting into so many engagements, but the opening breakoffs has just been about everything for these offensive teams. Sheldon will find one. Comes down to Eons, who was able to find himself up on 4 in a row. He's still alive. Finally gets traded out. Davenport stall the clock.
Reality still trying to think about giving this a go. Got help nearby. Thresh on the way to assist. Eons off spawn, trying to get over towards shops. As Thrax drops, it's just one member on. First tick does come through. Hill's still looking decent here. The Hilltoppers could go. And oh, what a gunfight that is from Thresh. Trade comes out, but back and forth we go. 2 members for the Hilltoppers still trying to defend this A zone. Reality bouncing in, but no, that will surely do it. Multiple members could jump on here for Davenport. Clock stops at 57 seconds. Thresh try to get a cross in through bricks, but not going to work out. Vanity going to take a long route. That's also red, and hold on. Davenport may make a quick transition through mid.
I don't like this late call coming through from St. Edwards. You gotta take a page out of the Panthers book. That thing was chalk yesterday, man. And now you've lost all semblance of map control through the middle of the map. Eons, luckily enough, has been able to work his way in towards luggage. So he's gonna be that defender to at least help things out. Takes down Sheldon, gets some assistance. It's gonna be Exhib up top to at least take down Eons. Map positioning not looking too good for St. Edwards as they trail by 3 lives.
Vanity working back through mid. Double stack on the bar side here for the defense of St. Edwards. Vanity getting one, tries to change the elevation to surprise Sheldon. Doesn't quite work out fully. Eon's caught down low in the bottom bar. And here we go. Reality tagged up, can't do too much, but whoa, what a lifeline from Thresh on the cross. He even gets a lot of damage onto Exhib right there. And that is a 2v4 hold for St. Edwards. And look at the map control. They're moving so swiftly up towards top bedroom. Sheldon can't go anywhere. They have to wait. The Panthers have to get this player on the flank to start moving this defense around.
And he surely will. I mean, these are a lot of different isolated gunfights that are going to be coming through. Sheldon's going to call the cruise missile. He's going to try to splash it down, keep all these players trapped inside a spot, but where are the kills supposed to be coming through for Davenport? It's going in the opposite direction. The Hilltoppers clean house. Now they got bedroom control again, only trailing by a single life.
Reality up top has seen that, yep, everyone off spawn will be over towards top restaurant side. So Eons will watch one direction, Thresh the other. And the rest of the defense of the Hilltoppers should just be playing contact in 1-for-1 corners, but doesn't quite fully work out. Eons in trouble, but still wins the second gunfight, now on 3 in a row. 28-22 from him. Vanity over on the corner, well won. And that will once again push back this Davenport offense. 37 seconds on the clock. You have to set something up here for the Panthers. Go to isolation onto Vanity. They got bedroom control back.
Yep, but you still got to be worried about these players with the God Heavy. Look at player number 3 as well. Reality's going to be trying to come back through. Gecko's going to call the cruise missile, try to keep these players stacked up again. We'll find at least one kill, but again, the map positioning was not taken. 20 seconds remain.
Davenport go 2 for 1. On the cross, though, this has been the problem. How do they get through Reality? The answer is you don't. Sheldon's double does maybe build a bit of a lifeline. 5v6, 10 seconds. Eon's playing bottom bar. Help right above him as the rest of the defense spawns right behind Spa. Here comes the hit. Eons gets the first. He gets the second. Turning. Oh, Eons! Not quite getting the third. Drax keeps the play alive, but not for long enough. And St. Edwards will take the first. Defense 3-1 the control. And a huge map would to take the edge of the series.
I mean, what a swing map mode combination. Just about everything that you asked for, Alan. St. Edwards deliver. A little bit of assistance, but, I mean, it came at a cost in a way that St. Edwards were still throwing lives seemingly towards an already captured A-zone. I mean, they really gave Davenport a swift opportunity to potentially get themselves in the middle of the map, maybe get themselves over towards that B zone after the A zone was going to be captured, all off of the lives being thrown away from the Hilltoppers. But this squadron of St. Edwards, the Hilltoppers just come deliver the goods. Eons, I mean, he popped off so hard he's not even in his chair anymore. Like, that's just absolutely what you need out from the gate. And it's like you said, Alan, it's just one of those things for a lot of these different college teams. You just can put yourself in a position, rally behind one player, just absolutely popping off. Eons has been that guy, it feels like, and Thresh always right there along with him. Yep.
And you'll see it when we get to the final scoreboard. Eons has like 31, but his damage is like 1K less than both of his ARs.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about help.
Absolutely.
You're getting it. Man, what a map this was, though. I think the heroics for really both teams in the first 3 rounds of the offense, you start to think, okay, here we go. We're going to see something of, we want round 5 offense. But I'll tell you, so many individual moments here in round number 4 that allowed St. Edwards to continue to put on pressure. I think the biggest thing comparing the first defense to the second is the fact that St. Edwards never allowed Davenport to get around the back.
Yep.
There'd be instances where there's a couple of the kills, but they'd be really quick to pick it up, find the trades, and make sure the Panthers always stay out of spot. Even on that last moment where Eons is finding tons of kills, he had AR support already topside bar, getting a lot of damage in. So, again, really good stuff coming out of St. Edwards. Kind of eliminated the pressure from what kind of foiled their opening defense, which is a lot of that flank.
But even more so than that, as far as the defensive conversion is concerned, the adaptations, if you will, out from St. Edwards in that defense, offensively was still just as fundamentally delicious.
Oh, sure.
The fact that you always had players for St. Edwards, you constantly will notice this. I don't care what level of Call of Duty you're playing. It could be your bronze lobbies for all I care. If you're going to be able to try to get an offensive conversion, get a player inside his spot. I felt like Vanity understood that task every single time. And Davenport always had to send at least 1 or 2 players to deal with him every single time. And by the time you finally found that trait in towards the back, even if he goes 1 for 1 or doesn't even find a kill, St. Edwards has had such superior map positioning for their ARs to get into position
again, when we see the scoreboard, it'll be quite telling. The amount of damage laid down from the ARs and the floodgates quite literally open for David Eons to fly in your face.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, and it's most exemplified by the 2v4s that come through for St. Edwards in that last defensive setup, right? Like, multiple members of ARs on the cross, finding a lot of damage in, makes life easy for the sole defender on the other side. Same situation, Eon's getting a lot of help over the top. He ends up fighting 3k damage, actually. Just kidding, I lied to you. I thought Reality's damage was his damage. Not the case. So, 12 assists from Thresh, 20 out of 23 non-traded. I mean, that was one of those big components that we're talking about when it comes to AR positioning and being able to reward yourself for getting there. Brilliant stuff from St. Edwards in that last round.
I mean, Thresh, he's a hard kill for an AR that you feel like that he's posted up all the time. Every single time we were actually sitting here in our little casting area here at Belong Gaming Arena, is that even in that search and destroy, he doesn't take a child the same way twice. And it's just so creative, the way that Thresh is able to manipulate the map. For 46 engagements, every single gunfight looks so different for 3,200 damage to boot. And again, it's those 12 assists that ring on so true for Eons to drop 31 kills on Davenport's forehead. So now they take a 2-1 lead as far as the series is concerned. And I would say that's a good buffer considering, again, I feel like the narrative for this map number 4 is that both these teams have not exactly had a stellar time this weekend so far on Zarqwa Hydroelectric.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, this was a map that both teams really played a lot during the regular season, so you can understand why it's in the mix so often.
Totally.
And I think the thing about it is, with all of our Final 8 teams, they were all significantly better than a lot of the teams in their region.
Sure.
So you put them on a map like Hydra, where your gun skill, your game awareness will really be able to help boost you to kind of dominatingly snowball wins. Thing is, that's different in this environment. We're on LAN, and all 8 teams are extremely good at being able to work the mechanics of what a hard point looks like. So that's where I think, for St. Edwards and Davenport, they're saying, yeah, we're not going to veto Hydro against teams like Fisher. We can handle them. Well, they learned their lesson real quick. So now it's just down to, again, trying to get your game plan going. And I feel like for both of these two teams, kind of thinking back to when we've seen them on this map before, a lot of it does kind of focus on they're used to winning rotations when they don't have the proper setups. That is not necessarily going to be the case, and it definitely wasn't when they played teams like Fisher. So you have to know when you have to take the L on the chin and set yourself up to actually give yourself a good chance to break, because you're not going to win every single rotation like you're used to.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was abundantly clear as well when you go back and you really dissect that map number 1 on Zarqwa Hydroelectric between the Dragons and the Hilltoppers as well. There was always one player, Desmace specifically, didn't exactly drop the sexiest KD ratio, but he was always a problem. And I was out there, we were waiting for the final matchup to conclude, and I walked up the bar and I was like, how did they just allow you to exist through the middle of the map continuously? It just feels like, again, that when it comes down to this Hilltoppers roster, when it hits the fan, they kind of lose touch with themselves, where they need to be on the map itself, where they need to be able to fish out these last few players to be able to get a final break. They find themselves constantly just flooding through one point of ingress into an AR's waiting arms.
Yeah.
Get gunned down either from him or from an SMG on the flank.
I think a lot of this is going to be down to understanding the numbers in front of you. Whether that's in your favor or against your favor. Doesn't make a difference. But having the awareness to kind of get a tally on what the current circumstances are and being able to, again, either modify your hit because you're down on numbers or being able to quickly adjust and say, we've got the ability to push forward real quick. Let's make the play. So, I don't know. It's going to be one of those things that, again, both these teams, like I continue to mention, are pretty used to beating up on teams in their regions. But this is a different situation when you're playing up against the CCL's best. And for Davenport, it's time to regain. Find a way to kind of get your game plan going, get everyone involved, make a go at it. It would be an embassy for map number 5 if we get to that point. Again, just to re-hit it one last time before we load it in. Win and you're in. Lose and you're done for the weekend. Davenport backs up against the wall.
It's win and you're in, but you're going to have to start the lower bracket. You're going to have to come to grips with it. Just got to get past one or the other here.
St. Edwards can close it out here. Davenport looking to at least push it to that map number 5. And damn, would they really love to have it, because that search and destroy on Hotel was anything but, well, it was certainly interesting. I'll just leave it at that. So, Zarqwa Hydroelectric is going to be one. And honestly speaking, I'm excited to strap myself back in for the Shroud versus Thresh fight we got in that map number 1, brother.
Yeah, I'll say.
That was a good one.
Let's find out to see if someone's going to actually double shell that guy. He's He's going to go straight to top dome. Sheldon having a tough time getting into the mix at the moment. Just kind of falls into the water. Pops back up towards bridge side. Reality on the cross. Thresh able to help out. Good kills coming out. Gecko down low inside of Hut. Not able to play for the hard point time at the moment. Reality a problem. And actually Thrax, he doesn't quite get the stun where I think he wanted to. And with that, Eons jumps in and St. Edwards have good control over the top of him.
Yeah, I mean, also look at the map control for Reality. Eon still feeling himself. But just as soon as those kills come through in possession of P1s, I mean, Davenport just come back in and completely crumble what semblance of a setup St. Edwards had. You're still fine with this, by the way. I mean, 7 seconds as far as P1 is concerned, nothing to scoff at. Davenport understanding the next task at hand is to really put somebody in a position to try to work for these pinches. It's 2 different water routes to maybe try to upset P2 early.
Well, not the buoy that you often see in the water, but Thraxus watches his stun sink to the ground. Still a chance for him to kind of pop up, but no, he is being watched the whole way. There were some St. Edwards nades that also tagged him while he was kind of making that water route happen. So St. Edwards in control for now. Little flank route happening though. Davenport flooding down the bottom side of this hard point. Spawns are out. Thresh will not be there, but Reality will. And now Eon's called upon. He's got a couple of weapons to play with. He'll use both of them. Good assistance, good damage, and a full team wipe comes through St. Edwards' hold.
Yep, all of that plus some more. Now you're down to 30 seconds. And honestly speaking, if you're Davenport, you can't contest that P2 again. Maybe put one player to try to contest it, but this is where you got to start asking yourself the question, why are we spawning P5? Thresh is already in towards the back 10, trying to anchor out spawns. He won't be able to do so. He needs assistance, just barely gets back inside the lines in time. Good kills to find for yourself for Davenport as they can set themselves up here at Red for 3.
Yeah, they've got a good hit here where Gecko should have a lot of space to work with. He should know that he shouldn't be under immediate threat with his hardpoint not being open yet. As it does, Davenport will jump in. Sheldon will spawn right on top of the hardpoint. So now it's really down to this 1v1. This is everything. And Gecko wins it, if only just barely. Thrax also makes safe pitch, and now St. Edwards are only really resounding towards what they have to the front, and that doesn't work out either. So off the reset, St. Edwards will not have a flank play available to them. They're going to have to break from the front, and Davenport, very anxious. They're thinking of flanks on the way. That's not the case. St. Edwards have already neutralized.
Test time is still going to be good. You don't have to try to flip these spawns. It's 27 seconds. This is realistic.
Oh!
But Sheldon shuts it down. Was able to find those 2 kills since the Hilltoppers packing. It's a good 20 seconds for Davenport to try to soak up for themselves. And some previous positioning. Eons actually spawns it towards the back. What is going on back here inside of Red? Eons is at least able to find one. Goes 1 for 1 in that regards, but it'll be just about a dead even game. And St. Edwards are setting themselves up for P4.
Not bad at all for Davenport. Just down 15 points. You already have Exib trying to threaten over through the water side. Reality up top. Eons flushes him out. Trail should be open, no problem here for St. Edwards. On the cross, Eons sees one, deals with them. Should have seen the second as well. And Brax will get the better of him. So now an opportunity maybe to block these spawns here. Where exactly does Eon spawn up at? He's out. So Davenport, this is their best chance. 4v3. Got to get into the hard point. Thrax takes down one around the back. That should flip spawns. Pending Vanity doesn't get any kills, which, well, the timing is perfect. He gets one Vanity for the second. Shutdown comes through. Everything goes neutral. And St. Edwards will spawn up proximally to the spawn.
Yep, they'll have the closer spawns this time around. Enough, you already had one Davenport player have a north and south spawn over by the Jenny for Thresh, who recognized a little bit late, but still gets the job done. A combined 21 kills in between Eons and Thresh, the usual suspects for St. Edwards, delivering on the goods through 4 hardpoints so far, as St. Edwards now will build their lead just to about 60. So Davenport, much like over by P3, they got to chalk it. They don't exactly have anybody through Ruins to watch the middle of the map. They got to anchor these spawns. This needs to be a good hill.
Hardpoint opens up. Eximple still spawn close, but it's a double hit around the back. Sheldon focused on the front. Thrax, Exib, worried about this backside. Good damage from Thrax. These are both your SMGs. Trying to hold this for now. Vanity getting one, Thresh gets the other. That's the spawn flip now. Should be coming through. And Davenport, yep, all the way out towards the second hard point. Not where you want to be. But they're still holding out of the hard point itself. Sheldon's done well to keep his life here.
What?
He's doing it all himself. He's going to almost take down 3. But it's enough space, time, and damage to allow easy trades to come through. Davenport, hold on. 25 seconds to fight.
I mean, that is unreal.
Yeah.
The way that Sheldon just essentially 1v3'd inside the hardpoint just to maintain it. Have the back spawns. I dare you, Beck and Sheldon. Gecko's now up on a 5 spree. Exib is popping off as well. Sheldon comes back in to be able to find the third. And St. Edwards are very much so still spawning in towards the back. They keep the hardpoint contested. Eon's trying to stay alive for the last 10 seconds. Gecko stuck in a 1v1 versus the window. But he's at least able to get that 6 kill. So Cruise Missile has been earned. This game just different by about 20 points as we go into the second set.
Thrax is holding over towards Hut. Good help from Sheldon up top. Reality just dolphin dives his way into the zone, but doesn't make much of a difference. Eon's not going to get to 6 of his own, so he's just short of his own cruise missile. St. Edward's in the lead by right around 30 points. Nades coming out will help them get onto the hard point as well. Trophy system was just a little bit too deep there for Davenport. Sheldon's still in a great spot, or so you'd think. Thresh gets full penetration for the kill, takes his focus down low, and hard point for now will stay neutral. Davenport trying to get numbers to hold on to this P2 side, but kills coming out here for St. Edwards.
Gecko needs to go. He needs to try to help out his team through the middle of the map, but he gets absolutely eviscerated. 3 quick kills come through for St. Edwards, and now you need to start sprinting towards the P2 side. And Thrax is the only one over here for the Panthers. Also, just look at Eons just being a rat over by the bridge, waiting for more exits over by P1. There's 2. Why not just give him 3 in a row? David Eons came to play, but elsewhere, Thrax is still alive.
Huge.
He's able to find a kill. That maintains spawns for P2, Allen.
He had to go 1v2, and that may have saved the game for Davenport. Hardpoint sure opens up in favor of St. Edwards, but it's just Eons by himself. He gets taken down. Cruise missile called to save the day. Thresh from the front, trying to find an angle to work his way in, but the doors are shut. Semtex now comes through, but Gecko gets the kill, and how about that for the Panthers? Sheldon even on the rotation, takes down a couple more, and the Panthers are here. Should be a tie game, if not a Panthers lead.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. The spaghetti's on the floor for St. Edwards, but the spaghetti's on the plate, and Davenport are absolutely feasting off of Thrax going 1v2 and towards the back. Be able to get those spawns and remain intact. That was supposed to be St. Edwards' moment, but it brings Davenport right back into things. You got to contest the time if you are St. Edwards to make it at least interesting. The only reason why you're able to do it is because you got reality in towards the back. Exib's going to get gunned down ahead of this P3 rotation, and now you got Davenport spotting as far southeast as the map will allow them to go.
He's got to do everything here. Hardpoint's about to open up. It's number 4 in white that we need if you're a Davenport fan. A little bit of help from Sheldon through mid. Thresh trying to hold on to spawns. Here comes Gecko and Sheldon working together to try to hold off this Davenport, or probably the St. Edwards hit. Thresh floating, looking for contact. Gecko pops up. Help comes through for Thresh, but it also is a forced team kill, but Thresh isn't done yet. Sheldon just over the top. Davenport's still the hard point for now. Thrax, last one left alive. Thresh trying to get himself set up, but Thrax continues to feast. Thresh finally gets one. Gecko not going to get the trade, and St. Edwards break back into control room.
Spawns in towards the back. Still, 25 seconds remain inside of P3, and the spawns will actually flip. Nobody for the Hilltoppers was in a position to try to block it, and, well, now the hit is all coming through the back. Thresh is still trying to go on this Herculean spree. Gets cut down at 5, and spawns will flip again. Now Davenport going to be on the better side of the map. Gecko spawns in effectively for P4, needs to maintain that possession of the map, while everybody's spotting all over the place.
Oh, gosh, this is tough. There's still time left on this old hard point, so Davenport will spawn old. St. Edwards on full rotation. Gecko just holding in a corner, but he's been stunned. St. Edwards know that he's back here. Can Exib save a life? He needs to. There's the hit. Gecko drops. Exib also falls. St. Edwards open up trail. Maybe a chance still, though. This little 2v4 could still be possible for the Panthers. Sheldon around the corner through the old P2. He gets a double. That will block spawns. Can he do more? He's got one on the backside of the hard point, but no, Eons gets the kill. Thrax still trying to find the trade. Not going to happen. It's Thresh and Eons for the 2v4, and St. Edwards have built in a condition to get to 200 points.
St. Edwards are now having players bump forward from P4. They know they're not essentially blocking the spawns, but they're not exactly getting flanked either. 20 seconds will be conceded for Davenport. They're going to allow the Hilltoppers to get over 200 points, and reality understands the task at hand, trying to push all the way through the ruins path. Thresh is also here as well, and nobody's watching it. Eons is able to find one. You got Threx spotting it over towards Old. Take the 5 seconds, if you will. St. Edwards are over 200.
Exib just misses a chance right there. He was supposed to be watching that bridge cross, and I think they were a little bit shaky on if someone for St. Edwards already pushed through or not, so Exib gave up the angle, and now St. Edwards have broken from the front. Sheldon, nice shots from down low. Trade comes through, though. Reality follows up. Now he's on 3 in a row. Double hit coming through. Thrax getting one. Thrax gets another. Gecko assist. Last player. Eon's not quite able to get there. And Davenport salvages the situation, but Thresh still spawns from behind. No one's anchoring for Davenport. St. Edwards is going to have a 2-2 split. Thresh from the back gets one. Turn that into a second. Hardpoint goes neutral, and SCU will get the break.
Eons is able to find that last kill. Now you got to try to contest if you are Davenport. St. Edwards can't close it out here, but they've already put themselves damn near close. Leaders advantage, just starting to spiral out of control. Players still spotting in towards the back for Panthers. You have to hit through the old time, while also trying to get yourself the middle map control. And they're isolating themselves through these very narrow choke points out. It is not looking good for the Panthers.
Not good at all. This will get them to 243. make it 244, and Thresh could just hop on the hard point and win the game. No one's close. And oh man, just a couple of critical moments that Davenport doesn't fully read or capitalize on, and St. Edwards punish them for their mistakes. And they will take the series, making their way to tomorrow. They will start in the lower bracket, but at least they're able to continue to see the playoff run continue, whereas for Davenport, hell of an effort, but once again, just not quite able to get through it. They will finish 4th in the group, and they will be eliminated in top 8.
Eon's just screaming, letting them absolutely have it. Fist bumps to still speak of. I mean, everybody's already packing up. Very frustrating circumstances to be here for the Davenport Panthers again. Back-to-back lands. These one player's first, and they just can't get the job done again. And as you were talking about, I mean, critical moments, a critical error when they were in the backside of P5. Alan,
yeah.
They had those spawns. They had such an easy rite of passage to be able to maintain presence on P5 and get themselves to 200 points, but nobody was on the God Rock.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta be able to at least maintain some semblance of composure here. I mean, I get it. It's collegiate athletes, whatever. But you gotta anchor spawns in Sarkwell Hydroelectric, Alan. You gotta make sure that you get those spawns in your favor and remain them intact. Davenport was this close to at least trying to get it closer to map 5, but simply not meant to be. St. Edwards will send them packing.
That's the biggest thing about what we're going to start to see as we have now gotten to our top 6. The difference is the top 2 teams that we're going to get in grand finals versus everybody else. I think it's probably going to be easy for us to say the team that makes the less, not just the least mistakes, but the team that's able to punish their opponents best.
Yes.
They're going to come out on top, especially in these respawns that we assume are going to always be very, very tight, very, very competitive. Same can be said for things like Search and Destroy, but I think in particular, using that as an example, you're going to see it a lot in the hard point. So, man, tough affair, tough battle between both 2 teams, but St. Edwards will move on. They will start in the lower bracket, coming out 3rd in their group. And I believe with that, we will just kind of take a tally to kind of see exactly the highlights over this last map, and then we should be able to have a position to see who got out of the Group A and what positions they came out in.
Oh man, these highlights are going to be a Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events. There's just so many different opportunities where spawns were all over the place, battles towards the back. I mean, Thrax puts on his cape and Cal goes big in the backside of P2. Luis get that presence for the Panthers to really start making an argument, to start digging into the lead that St. Edwards had. Not to mention the initial P5 as well. I mean, I'll be candid, had no business staying alive that long inside that hard point, but going in towards the second set, this is where we got to see St. Edwards really come alive, especially for their heavy hitters. Here's Eon's 3-piece to be able to go on 4 in a row. Fresh as well, able to at least put himself in a position to constantly overwatch these plays through the water, one little doggy paddle, and he's able to stay alive as well. It just always felt like that St. Edwards, much like what we were talking about for the Fortress, and well, even some semblance of some other respawns as well throughout the entirety of the day. They're always putting themselves in a position to try to set up Eons to be able to quite literally fly, and well, more often than not, try.
I mean, even throughout those highlights, Eons and Thresh had tripled up the kills of their 2 teammates. Like, those guys were flying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Look back over the scoreboard. Yeah, 33 and 20, 30 and 16 for Thresh. Non-traded kills galore. Damage just super high. I mean, it's hard to keep grip on that. On the other side, at least Sheldon was able to go, 25 and 29 with a lot of damage of his own, but I just kept feeling like every time Davenport was defaulting to playing for rotation, there was a critical error that was made, and it was either Thresh or Eons who made them pay for it. So, yeah, great stuff from St. Edwards to kind of identify the crisis and then really put the pressure on Davenport, forcing a couple of very critical moments to go their way. 250-165 the final, 3-1 the final in this series. As we look back over it, yeah, sure, there were a couple of tight maps here in the series, but it definitely felt, I think, for me, like St. Edwards is just playing the better COD pretty much throughout the entirety of this series, maybe except for the Search and Destroy to the last couple of rounds.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, maybe besides Search and Destroy, besides Thresh, going big, getting an ace, and also potentially forcing out a round number 11. It was 6-4 was the Hotel Search and Destroy. Unfortunate disaster that it ended in that round number 10 with the cruise missile just 0.2 seconds from being dropped all the way down. But for Thresh, how can you not talk about this guy right here? Map 5, big time Mo, whatever you decide to call him. This guy is always an anchor that you want in the back of your spawns when the hardpoint is active, when a play is being developed. Thresh absolutely was a consistent factor, barring joining the agency and then just going massive.
Well, yeah,
was a consistent factor.
That's for me.
he just wanted the badge. He
That's
wanted
true.
entry access to the agency, and then once he became an operative,
They don't
it
give
was
those
all
out for
action.
free, man.
But no, here's the thing about the St. Edwards team, and now that they know that they're going to have to battle through the lower bracket, go back, rewatch the VOD, and start to kind of fix up on some of the small mistakes that you're making. In particular, I think the search and destroy,
Yes.
because you know you're going to get consistent performances out of players like Thresh. I think you can also throw Eons in the mix. He had a
Yes.
great series here as well. But I think everything that you can kind of find a way to battle back into a team that you know you're going to play tomorrow that's coming off of a loss tonight. Find a way to study up on who's doing what, fix up your own stuff, maybe execute on some mistakes that your opponents are going to have, turn that into an opportunity to continue the run here, because the last thing you want is to drop into that lower bracket and then only see one more best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, that is just the alarming thing, right? Is that now you have to play the patient game. But the one thing about it is that there should be at least be some VOD, whether it is here on LAN
Sure.
or throughout the entirety of the year. And I don't necessarily mean for their opponents. I mean for themselves, because a lot of the times, even in that matchup versus the Dragons, they kind of beat themselves before they ended up having
Sure.
the Dragons just have their way. Just too many open opportunities for themselves as well. But here's some of the groups and how things have been kind of settling out as we finally have our conclusion of Fisher versus the Dragons. Actually went the map for Allen. The Dragons are actually able to take the Expo control, but then lost the Hydra hardpoint, go figure, at 250 to 194. So here's how everything has essentially shaken out, as Fisher will confirm the #1 seed coming out of Group B. The Dragons coming in, and the only series that they lost was, of course, as I just stated, was against Fisher.
On the other side of Group A, we were kind of wondering what was going to happen between New Mexico State, Oklahoma Christian, and then St. Clair and Northwood played up against each other. And, well, the results speak for themselves. So I would say that the groups kind of ended up the way that I think we probably predicted them to go. I think there may be some questions on the order of University of North America and St. Edwards, depending on what you got on LAN, because we saw kind of results in different regions online. I think there was a little bit extra favor towards the statistics for UNLV, but I think you guys said that last time, like a softer division, so how good were they? And they definitely proved it when they were playing up against St. Edwards in that matchup. So here's how the bracket now starts to build its way out. Northwood will play University of North America. Oklahoma Christian gets the chance to go up against Fisher. And then players, of course, will be waiting to see who goes up against St. Clair and who goes up against St. Edwards in that lower bracket.
Bunch of sharks in these waters, Alan, let me tell you.
I'm telling you.
Oh, my God. Those first round matches are going to absolutely bang. I don't honestly think that, I mean, I was actually one of those people. I didn't think the Dragons were going to be active on LAN, but I mean, they're absolutely delivering. They played Fisher really, really close. The search and destroy was a little bit of a blowout. They beat them on the Expo control 3-1, and they only lost the hard points, and I say this, 250 to 192, 250 to 194. That's against Fisher, and again, you have to take that with a gem. Not a grain of salt, but an actual gem, how well the Dragons are playing, and that winners round 1 match versus Northwood is going to be a really big test for them, to be able to see how deep of a run they might actually make this weekend.
About to find out. Winners bracket starts. I was going to say now, but it starts next. We're going to get everything set up. We're going to watch both of those two winners bracket games to finish off day #1 here in Columbus at the Belong Arenas. Before we stop off to break, just again, big shout-outs to both Fandom and Nelnet Bank for coming through helping support put this all on. If you're looking for a banking partner as you start to pursue your college career, make sure you check out Nelnet Bank at nelnetbank.com. Lots of resources out there as far as how you pursue maybe investing into your future as we go into now our break here. Winners bracket coming up. Don't go far. We'll be right back.